Thunder echoed through the night sky as Grace struggled to keep her eyes open during her shift at St. John Hospital. The clock on the wall ticked deliberately, each passing second feeling like an eternity. The coffee she clutched had grown cold long ago, yet she held it tightly, savoring its faint warmth in the sterile atmosphere of the emergency room. The automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh, carrying in a blast of wind and rain. Grace glanced up, anticipating yet another late-night patient. But what met her gaze made her doubt her own sanity. There, framed by the fluorescent lights of the entrance, stood a massive African lion, its golden mane darkened by the rain. In its mouth, it carried something wrapped in a blue blanket. Time seemed to stop as the magnificent creature padded silently across the lobby, its massive paws leaving wet prints on the pristine floor. The few people present remained frozen, caught between fear and disbelief. The lion's eyes, deep and knowing, locked with Grace's for a moment that felt like eternity. There was something in that gaze, intelligence, purpose, and an inexplicable gentleness that contradicted everything she knew about wild animals. With remarkable delicacy, the lion lowered its head and placed the bundle on the floor. The blanket fell away, revealing a tiny baby, pale and cold, but alive. Without thinking, Grace stepped forward, her medical training overriding her fear. The lion did not move, watching intently as she approached. As she knelt to examine the infant, she noticed a golden medallion tucked into the blanket, bearing the inscription, "To Anna, protect him at all costs." The baby required urgent medical attention. Grace signaled for assistance, prompting her colleagues to hurry forward with a gurney. Amidst the chaos, the lion remained unnervingly still, its piercing eyes tracking every motion. It was not until the baby was on the way to the intensive care unit that the majestic creature turned to depart. At the doorway, it stopped briefly, casting one final glance back before vanishing into the storm. Grace's hands were shaking as she filled out the preliminary paperwork. The medallion weighed heavily in her pocket, its presence a reminder that she had not imagined the whole thing. She could not shake the feeling that she had just become part of something much larger than herself, something that defied explanation. Her thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of a man who burst through the doors, his clothes soaked, and his face etched with desperation. He clutched a photograph in his trembling hands. "Please," he gasped, "I am looking for my son, my wife, Anna. There was an accident on the coastal road. The baby was not in the car when they found it. Please tell me he is here." Grace felt her heart skip a beat at the mention of Anna's name. She looked at the photograph in the man's hands. A beautiful woman holding a newborn, wearing a medallion identical to the one in her pocket. As she met the man's pleading eyes, Grace knew that this stormy night was just the beginning of an extraordinary story that would change all their lives forever. Ryan Walker sat in the hospital waiting room, clutching a golden medallion tightly in his hands as Grace listened intently to his story. He spoke of his wife, Anna, a woman who had always stood out for her unique bond with animals, particularly Aurelius, the lion at the local wildlife sanctuary. Ryan described how Anna would spend countless hours at the sanctuary, often seated near Aurelius's enclosure, filling her journal with writings about ancient legends and guardian spirits. Anna believed Aurelius was more than just a lion, Ryan said, his voice thick with emotion. She told me stories about guardian animals passed down through generations in her family. I thought they were just tales, but now, he trailed off, looking at the medallion that matched the one found with their baby. Grace shared her experience of the lion's visit, watching Ryan's expression shift from disbelief to wonder. The coincidences were too precise to ignore. The matching medallions, the timing, the way the lion had known exactly where to bring the baby, it all pointed to something beyond ordinary explanation. Security footage from the hospital confirmed Grace's account, showing the magnificent creature with startling clarity. As they watched the recording, Ryan noticed something that made his breath catch, the lion's distinctive scar above its right eye. "That is Aurelius," he whispered, "but it is impossible. The sanctuary closed years ago after a financial crisis. No one knows what happened to the animals." Together, they began piecing together the puzzle. Anna had been driving home from her mother's house when her car skidded off the coastal road. By the time emergency services arrived, the baby was missing from the car. Somehow, Aurelius had found him and brought him to safety. Grace opened the baby's medical charts on her tablet. "His recovery is extraordinary," she remarked. "His body temperature has stabilized far quicker than we anticipated, and his vitals are strong. It is almost as if—" She paused, unsure whether to voice the thought forming in her mind. "It is as if something, or someone, is watching over him." A nurse interrupted their conversation, rushing in with news. "The baby is awake," she announced, "and there is something you need to see." In the nursery, they found tiny paw prints in the dust on the windowsill, prints that could not have belonged to any ordinary house cat. Ryan reached into his wallet and retrieved a folded piece of paper. It was a page from Anna's journal, dated just a week before the accident. The words sent chills down Grace's spine. "Aurelius is not bound by ordinary laws of nature. He appears when needed most, crossing boundaries between worlds to protect those in danger. The medallion is the key, it always has been." As if on cue, both medallions began to warm in their hands, the engravings glowing with a faint golden light. Outside, a distant roar echoed through the stormy night. Grace and Ryan exchanged knowing looks. Their journey to uncover the truth about Aurelius, Anna, and the ancient power that connected them all was just beginning. The old wildlife sanctuary loomed before them, its rusted iron gates entangled with creeping vines. Grace and Ryan had followed the coordinates hidden within Anna's medallion, leading them to this desolate place just outside Charleston. A thick morning fog clung to the ground, shrouding the abandoned site in an eerie, otherworldly haze that mirrored the mystery they were determined to uncover. As they pushed open the groaning gate, their eyes fell upon fresh paw prints embedded in the damp earth, a clear sign that they were not alone. The tracks were enormous, winding deeper into the sanctuary's forgotten grounds. Ryan clutched Anna's journal tightly, its pages filled with intricate drawings of ancient symbols that matched the engravings on their medallions. The former visitor center stood in a state of decay, with nature slowly reclaiming the building. Inside, dust-covered photographs lined the walls, capturing moments of Anna with Aurelius over the years, from her childhood to mere months before the accident. In each image, the lion's intelligent eyes seemed to peer directly into the camera, conveying something beyond mere animal awareness. "Look at this," Grace called out, pointing to a hidden panel behind Anna's desk. The medallions in their possession had begun to warm once again, and when they placed them together, they fit seamlessly into the panel, forming a perfect key. With a soft click, the panel slid open, revealing a chamber that should not have existed within a modern building. The walls of the hidden room were adorned with ancient hieroglyphs and paintings, depicting lions as protectors of humankind. A set of carbon dating results pinned to the wall indicated that the chamber predated the sanctuary by centuries. Anna's research notes were scattered across the space, linking historical events to sightings of mysterious lions that had appeared throughout time to shield the vulnerable. "She knew," Ryan whispered, running his fingers over Anna's familiar handwriting. "She knew Aurelius was more than just a lion." A leather-bound book on the desk caught Grace's attention. As she flipped through its pages, she found detailed accounts of Aurelius' inexplicable abilities, his apparent agelessness, his ability to vanish and reappear at will, and most importantly, his undeniable connection to the medallions. According to Anna's research, the medallions were part of an ancient pact between the Guardians and those they chose to protect. Their discovery was interrupted by a powerful roar that sent vibrations through the very foundation of the building. Rushing to the window, they caught a glimpse of Aurelius's massive form moving through the dense fog. The lion was patrolling the perimeter, as though he had never abandoned his role as guardian. At that moment, Grace's phone vibrated in her pocket. A message from the hospital flashed across the screen, pulling her abruptly back to reality. "The baby is showing remarkable signs of recovery," the text read. "But strange occurrences have been reported around his room." Staff members spoke of hearing deep, comforting growls in the dead of night, though no animal had entered the hospital. Security cameras occasionally flickered, capturing glimpses of a large shadow standing watch over the nursery. Back at the hospital, Ryan cradled his son, whom he had named Leo in honor of his mysterious protector. Grace sat nearby, meticulously transcribing the most critical findings from Anna's research. The baby's recovery had baffled the medical staff. His vitals were stronger than expected, and an unusual warmth seemed to radiate from him, offering an inexplicable sense of peace to anyone who held him. Meanwhile, the hospital's security footage continued to document inexplicable phenomena. During the stillness of the night, a faint golden glow would illuminate Leo's room, accompanied by the soft sound of gentle purring captured by the monitors. Nurses reported experiencing an unexplainable sense of calm and protection each time they stepped into the nursery. There was an undeniable presence surrounding Leo, something beyond logic yet impossible to dismiss. Meanwhile, Ryan discovered additional entries in Anna's journal, entries that now felt prophetic. She had written about an impending challenge, a time when the Guardian's protection would be more crucial than ever. The final entry, dated just days before the accident, spoke of preparing Leo for his own extraordinary destiny. Our son will bridge two worlds. Aurelius is not just his protector, he is his teacher, his guide through what is to come. Grace's research into the sanctuary's history revealed another layer of mystery. The location had not been chosen by chance. It rested upon an ancient convergence of ley lines, energy pathways that Anna believed amplified Aurelius's abilities. The sanctuary had been deliberately constructed around this nexus point, cleverly disguised as a modern wildlife preserve. As if responding to their discoveries, strange events began occurring throughout Charleston. Farmers reported their livestock being protected from predators by a mysterious golden lion. Children spoke of a gentle, watchful beast appearing in their dreams, bringing comfort during thunderstorms. The local newspaper ran a story about inexplicable paw prints appearing at sites of near accidents, as though an unseen force had intervened to prevent disaster. One evening, as Grace completed her shift at the hospital, she found fresh roses on her desk, Anna's favorite flowers. When she mentioned it to Ryan, he checked the hospital's security footage. It showed only a brief golden blur moving through the frame, but the message was clear. Aurelius was acknowledging their role in protecting Leo. Through it all, Leo flourished. His eyes carried the same deep, knowing expression they had seen in Aurelius's gaze. Occasionally, when the light struck them at just the right angle, they shimmered with a faint golden hue. Unlike most infants, Leo exhibited no fear of storms or darkness. Instead, he would smile and stretch his tiny hands toward empty corners of the room, as though welcoming an unseen presence. The revelation came during a storm-swept evening at the sanctuary. Grace and Ryan had returned to continue their research when both medallions began to pulse with an intense golden light. The ancient symbols on the chamber walls seemed to respond, glowing in harmony with the artifacts. Anna's final journal entries revealed the full truth. The Guardians were not merely protectors. They were guides entrusted with preparing certain individuals for their roles in maintaining the balance between the natural and supernatural realms. Ryan discovered a hidden compartment within the chamber, containing a letter Anna had written to their son. His hands trembled as he unfolded the fragile parchment, his heart pounding as he read her words. "My dearest Leo, if you are reading this, then Aurelius has already begun his sacred duty. The connection between our family and the Guardian spans generations. Your great-grandmother was the first to recognize Aurelius's true nature, and each generation since has played a part in preserving the ancient pact between humans and Guardians." The letter revealed that Anna had long known her time was short, yet she had vowed to protect Leo, even beyond death. The medallions were not simple heirlooms. They were conduits of an ancient power, granting their bearers the ability to glimpse into the Guardian's realm. Through these artifacts, Grace and Ryan could now see fleeting visions of other Guardian spirits traversing the world, silently safeguarding those they had chosen. Back at the hospital, Leo's presence had begun to affect those around him in ways that defied explanation. His mere existence seemed to radiate an unseen force, shifting the world in ways only the Guardians could fully understand. Parents reported that their children recovered faster when placed near Leo's nursery. The constant atmosphere of serenity surrounding him seemed to ease the suffering of others, offering an inexplicable sense of peace. Through the medallion's power, Grace and Ryan witnessed Aurelius fulfilling his duties beyond Leo's protection. They saw him racing through the city streets at night, preventing accidents before they could occur, guiding lost children home, and standing watch over those in need. The ancient Guardian was carrying out a role that had existed since the dawn of human civilization. As Leo grew stronger, his connection to Aurelius became undeniable. His laughter would sometimes coincide with distant, gentle roars, and his dreams were filled with visions of running alongside his guardian through mystical realms that existed parallel to their own. 6 months after that fateful stormy night, St. John Hospital had embraced its unexpected role as a sanctuary. Leo's nursery had become a place of healing and hope, with Aurelius' unseen presence a source of comfort to all who visited. The guardian's protection extended beyond the hospital walls, creating a subtle but profound shift throughout Charleston. Grace had fully embraced her role as Leo's godmother, guiding Ryan through the challenges of both the ordinary and the extraordinary in raising a child touched by destiny. The medallions they wore stood as symbols of their connection to an ancient legacy, one that Anna had dedicated her life to understanding and preserving. Through the medallion's power, they began to witness Leo's own unique abilities manifesting. Plants flourished in his presence, and animals gathered near his window, drawn to the gentle energy he radiated. Most remarkably, on quiet nights, they could hear him cooing in response to Aurelius's distant roars, already learning the language of the guardians. The sanctuary had been restored, its true purpose now evident to those who knew its secrets. The ancient chamber became a repository of knowledge, documenting the ongoing relationship between humanity and their silent protectors. Other guardians began to reveal themselves to Grace and Ryan, magnificent lions appearing across the world, each watching over their chosen charges. Aurelius' role evolved as Leo's strength grew. The guardian was no longer just a protector, but a teacher, preparing the child for his future as a bridge between worlds. Anna's final gift to her son was a legacy of wonder and purpose. Through Leo, the ancient bond between guardians and humankind would endure, ensuring that future generations would continue to benefit from their silent watch. The medallions would one day be passed down, summoning new guardians and protectors when they were needed most. As Grace finished transcribing the last of Anna's journals, she looked up to find Aurelius standing in the sanctuary's doorway. The great lion's golden eyes carried the same wisdom and purpose she had seen on that first stormy night. Behind him, the setting sun cast long shadows through the trees, and in the distance a chorus of roars echoed across the landscape, the sound of other guardians acknowledging their youngest charge. Ryan now had the comfort of knowing his son would grow up with a guiding presence, a guardian ready to protect him in times of adversity. The ancient pact had not been broken, it had been reborn.